What I'm going to take you through today is a way of looking at your business, sometimes even yourself, with fresh eyes. I'm a blue ocean strategist. I'm an anthropologist, a corporate anthropologist, and I work with organizations that need or want to change. And I love blue ocean strategy. We've conducted over 350 workshops over the last 10 years on the topic. We're trained practitioners, and we find it very exciting when we get clients that are open to see things with fresh eyes. So let's go through blue ocean strategy. This is a how-to, and I'd like to take you through who's going to be your customer tomorrow. The question for you is, what's your strategy for capturing them? You might want to pause and write down, who is my customer for tomorrow? And what is my strategy for capturing them? And is it working? Give it some time to think through, how do we find a new strategy? And maybe we're missing something that is right before us, but we just can't see it. Well, some of the questions you should ask yourself: what are they really trying to do today? What is changing in how they use you now? What are your current customers doing differently? Where could there be potentially new markets struggling with problems that you could help solve? And what are they searching for this minute and how online? Great resource for you. And what is coming to you today through all types of channels that you might be ignoring? Think about growth potential in terms of unmet needs, non-users, pain. What's the challenge that they're facing? Slow growth, sales not working, generational changes in culture and lifestyle, new technologies. Is artificial intelligence really as great as it looks? Will robots be taking over your own job or others? How do you leverage all of the new Internet of Things possibilities and new market segments? Remember, the Gen Z that's coming on board has a huge buying potential and an 8-second attention span. So what we believe is that if you're going to thrive in these fast changing times, you need a real strategy, a well-defined, integrated, cohesive approach, a clear and simple story. We met Renee Marbon just as the book came out in 2005. And she has a new book out now called Blue Ocean Shift, Beyond Competing. That's really a wonderful next book for blue ocean strategy. They were both interested in who thrives and how they did it. So they studied, and as she said, first 50 companies and then 100 companies, which ones thrived and which ones didn't, and could others do the same? And so the journey began. And what they found was that the companies that thrived added value innovatively, differently, not incrementally. It wasn't just a better water fountain or a better engineering solution or a better academic program. It was different. They really understood why people weren't using them, non-users, people who rejected using them altogether. They listened for unmet needs. Who could use us that wasn't, and what were their unmet needs? But even among their own users, their own customers, what were the unmet needs? How did they create demand, which is extremely important if you're going to open a new market space? But often there's demand right out there that doesn't have a solution until you provide it. And how do you make the competition totally irrelevant? This is about rethinking how to solve problems innovatively. Those that really thrived created uncontested market space. At least for a while, there was nobody else there. And if there was somebody else there, they beat them out. You know, Google had Bing and Yahoo. What happened? Where was Prodigy and AOL? What happens? What is it about Google that's so different than what the others were doing? They reconstruct market boundaries and continue to do that. They don't simply play in the game of hotels, but Airbnb opens up a whole new market space of how to easily connect as a platform people with rooms to rent with people who need them. Reconstructing it. It's not a hotel. There's no check-in. Focus on the big picture. This is more about the big needs that we have and not on a particular little one. They reach beyond existing demand. WeWork isn't simply another office you can rent. It's a whole different service experience. And they see things in totally new ways. You can be asking yourself, what customers or markets do I serve? Typical strategic questions. What distinguishes us? What's our value proposition? What are the key processes and how do they give us a competitive advantage? What are the human, technological, or organizational enablers of the strategy? In a red ocean, where you probably are today, and you're thinking about the 5 forces of Michael Porter, you've carved out a space in a market space. You're an accounting firm, a legal firm. You're a manufacturer of something that others manufacture similarly to you. It's a zero-sum game. If you win the contract, they lose it. And if you lose the contract, they win it. But nobody is really moving the market into new directions. Blue ocean strategy is a way to make the competition irrelevant. You don't want to compete anymore anyhow. You want to open a new market space that you can own by creating a leap in value for your customers and the company. It's for both of them. So ask yourself, is the strategy of today the right strategy for tomorrow? Do you even know what your strategy is today? I often do workshops and I ask CEOs, what's your strategy? Yeah, sort of like the inbox is my strategy, or my referral network is my strategy, or the same customers who hired us before will hire us for their next project strategy. But then you have to decide, are you going to go on your left or my left and jump in with the sharks in a red ocean with lots of competition and very bloody? Or are you going on the right, a blue ocean? Neither is without pain. You can't stay in the shark-infested waters without feeling the bite. How cheap can you make your product? And on the right, going into a blue ocean is a whole new space. Nobody's there yet. Can you create it? You have to ask yourself different questions, but they are really valuable. So this is one of my favorite blue ocean strategy stories. And Mark Schmidt, who is the president of EAC, Integrated Power Solutions, lets me share it with great joy. He and I were on the board of Eva's Village together 10 years ago, 2007. And he had found Blue Ocean Strategy, and I had found Blue Ocean Strategy. And it was very compelling. And I had asked him, I'm looking for companies that need or want to change. That's what we do. He said, me. I said, Mark, why? He said, I've had 3 years of no growth. I have great sales guys, but unless the clients bring in new business, we don't change. So what do you do, Mark? We are an original equipment manufacturer. We take the specifications from very nice clients. We have 177 of them. 20 of them represent 90% of our business, but we build their batteries to their specifications. So as an original equipment manufacturer, his strategy was to have customers of lots of different sizes. Even 3M found them just as I was beginning to work with them. Their distinguishing features is they take the specs and build great batteries. They had a wonderful engineer, and he was able to create all kinds of wonderful solutions for them for their products, healthcare products, environmental products, sensing products, really cool products. Their exceptional engineers and production quality were their key processes and unique attributes. And all of this was enabled by a close relationship with the client, excellent service, and on-time delivery. Until they lost a very big client to a competitor over rechargeable batteries. And when I asked Mark, what's this with rechargeables? He said, well, we don't do that. Now, I want you to think about that because you may be saying to customers, oh, we don't do that. Every one of our clients starts with a, we don't do that. But why? Well, that's not our expertise. We take their specs and build great batteries is what he does and what he said. And then he did a strategic canvas. This looks like spaghetti. It took 6 hours for his management team and myself to really think through their competition. What was going on? And they couldn't even decide if they were high price, low price, or mid price. So I went out with his sales team to meet with their customers, but not the usual ones. We didn't go to hear purchasing and their need for low cost. Excuse me. We didn't go to engineers or even to R&D. We went to the C-suite. We went to manufacturing. We really wanted to understand what their challenges were. What were their pain points? We're thinking blue ocean. What is it we're missing? And what did they say? They said, well, Mark, can you do it any faster? Speed is a competitive advantage for us. And Mark said to them, but you give us the specs and we build your batteries. He said, yeah, but can't you do it any faster? And another one, I said, sort of naively, who's your competition? We'll build their batteries. Sounds like a commodity. He said, how far are you? He said, batteries, power is my competitive advantage. I want you to build longer lasting power solutions. And another one said, come and teach us what's going on in the power industry. And he said, but you give us the specs and we build your batteries. Finally, someone said something to Mark that clicked. And it isn't the data, it's how it clicks. He said, Mark, I don't want a battery. I want a lighter, longer, stronger power solution. Ah, that was the blue ocean. This wasn't about batteries anymore. This was about innovative ways to add value for power solutions that would last them longer. Then I went back and I talked to their staff. And they said, oh, we don't do that. Oh, no, we don't do it faster. We really just follow the specs. And we work with them on the specs, but we're not doing it faster. We're not telling them what's new in power solutions. They're telling us. That's not going to work well at all. It's not going to work at all because the times were changing. So I went exploring on my own, and I met with clients such as 3M to learn more about their power needs and why they had chosen EAC for their battery manufacturer. And they told me that Motorola used to be their battery manufacturer, but they had stopped. And EAC had just opened a new factory in China. And they told me they went on their website, they visited their clients, they talked to their suppliers, and they really had spec'd them out before they called Mark to find out if he could make batteries for them. It was really interesting to see, even a decade or more ago, how the buyer's process, the buyer's journey was changing. So what did we hear? Speed. Can you do it faster? Mark was paying no attention to that. Can we make your battery last longer? Please, I don't want it to go out in 12 hours. I want 24. And competitive advantage. Oh, is this important? So out of it came a to-be strategic canvas, a very different one, with things on it that never existed before and for which there were no competitors at the moment. And what we found was that they needed a whole new focus and a strategy. On the big picture, integrated power solutions, fast and speed to market that really mattered, rechargeable batteries were hot and they were not, a brand focus beyond simply we build good batteries, and finally they were sold to Great Batch in Buffalo for a very nice exit strategy, which wasn't the original one. Now, what's the challenge, you're asking? Why is it so hard to see what's right in front of you? He had good relationships with his clients. Why didn't he hear what they were saying? Here's part of the problem. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are few. The problem is our minds, our brains, are mind maps. And once we have a good perceptual map of reality, we see things the way we see them. And other things that are coming out to us, oh, we just discount them. And then we have the comfort of the herd. I'm an anthropologist. Culture is very powerful. We want to be with others who value and believe in the same things we do. We go to trade shows with other people just like us. It is not easy for us to separate ourselves from the herd and open a new market space. Habits, the habits are driving you. While we love to think that we're full of free will and we can do what we wish, we are well honed in our habits, and they take over when anything is in doubt and there's a craziness. And the brain hates me. It hates change. It creates pain in the brain, and it really doesn't want to learn these new things. It's like golf. I can't give you a book and a club and say, hit the ball. But you must take a step into the unknown, because that's what's happening today. Now, how can you see in new ways? You must go visually exploring. Now, I'm going to show you this, but I can't bring the video online. It's too fragile for the internet connection. But this is something you should begin to think about. I'd like to take people to classical music. It's not something they're familiar with because most people today don't go to classical concerts. But I was on the board of the Hudson Valley Philharmonic for many years. It's a struggling industry. Only 20% of the US go to concerts. It's an aging consumer. And 97% of first-time goers never come back. It looks like this. What I like about the picture is, of course, everyone is in black. They look very serious for the serious music lover. But there are a lot of empty seats and a lot of gray hairs and no hairs because the audience is very much an older adult. Then came along Andrea Rieu almost 30 years ago. He's a man from Amsterdam who was a marvelous violinist. He had a family of classical musicians and loved classical music. He just hated the way it was performed because what he often saw was this. He watched his audience sleep, literally. And I know from the Hudson Valley Philharmonic, we would talk about what piece we'd put on first that was long enough for people to take a nap and short enough so we could get on with the rest of the program. That is crazy. But then he saw this. There's no sleeping here. People don't even sit down. They stand, they're engaged, they have big screens, everyone can see. If you ever want to look at a great classical concert, I can send you a little snippet of this one or of Andrea Rieu. And he just does a fabulous job of transforming it. He reversed everything. He took classical music and popular music and made a mix of them. Traditional settings and untraditional settings, and he made them a whole new outdoor venue where he can bring 30,000 people in. Rather than dressing in classic form, he had colors and fashion. You never see his backside. You always look at his face. He smiles at you most of the time. It's very emotional. Remember, we buy with emotion and justify with reason. He plays a violin, not a baton. So he's a performer as well as a conductor. And it's totally engaged. For young and old, it's a party. I like to share his 2011 results. He's ranked 9th highest grossing tour of the year next to Lady Gaga. He broke all classical concert records. He packed stadiums and arenas with more than 700,000 adoring fans. He sold over 32 million albums globally and received 330 platinum awards for his albums. He earned $96 million in 2011 and something very similar every year since. I use him because I want you to see how he could teach us a way of crafting a blue ocean strategy. We use a blue ocean strategy tool called a strategic canvas. This is a strategic canvas for classical orchestras. The price wasn't that different. I live an hour between a regional town and New York City. So I can go north to Poughkeepsie and go to the concert there. And typically my price would be $75 or $80. I could go south and my price going to New York Philharmonic might be $150 or $200. Well-known musicians, New York City may have Yo-Yo Ma and Poughkeepsie may have Carter Bray. Stuffy, prestigious venues, the New York City Philharmonic would be amazing. And the Bardavon was an 1880 opera house. Not bad. Sat 900 people. It was a cute place. Formal dress, full-length classical pieces, almost the same. Very cerebral music. Neither had mass appeal, audience participation, or, I must admit, a lot of fun. This is what Andrea Rieu saw, and we saw it as well. But he did something about it. Because when he played a Strauss waltz, people would get up and try and dance. They would move in their seats. So he, his brother, and 12 gentlemen formed the Johann Strauss Orchestra and invited people to come in and waltz. He became the waltz king. And he took it from there to become this great performer by changing what others were doing into something completely new. He uses something in Blue Ocean called the 4-action framework. What did he eliminate that the industry takes for granted? What did he reduce well below the industry standards? What did he raise well above those standards and create something completely new to have a whole new value curve? Now, here's what he did. He eliminated serious classical music, the stodgy performance hall, the disengaged conductor for the music lover who was a serious music lover. He reduced the formality, the lack of community, and quiet in the music hall audience atmosphere. He raised the audience engagement, conductors' engagement, community of fans, use of social media. He tweets all the time. Are you using Twitter at all? And fun. Is working with you fun or serious? Could you make it more fun and reduce the seriousness? And all of this came together to create a party with total engagement, face first, a local focus with a big box arena, a non-classical classical concert, a modern one. Could you duplicate that? Now, then we drew a to-be strategic canvas showing how he got rid of most of the stuff classical concerts did except for the formal dress. And he added audience participation, mass appeal, fun, and he made the stuffy accessible. Transformed the whole experience, which is exactly what you should do. So I would typically ask you to do your canvas now, but let me show you how, and you can pause and do it, and then continue along with the podcast, with the webinar. A visual awakening is where we begin on a strategic canvas. Try to build yours together. On the bottom are what are the things that you invest in, your industry invests in. Price, are you high price, low priced, or mid price? That's the only one that's pretty absolute. The others are all relative. And then put in 2 dots for each of them, you and your competition. Are you highly invested in it or not? Do you really value customer experience or not? Are you big in online or not? Really take a look at you versus your competition. And then when you do it, ask yourself, what markets or customers are we serving? Think of this on the horizontal axis. What distinguishes us? What's our value proposition? What key processes give us competitive advantage? What are the human, technological, or organizational enablers of this strategy? And then draw your canvas. This is a good one to mimic. What's the equivalent of having well-known musicians? Do you have super engineers? A stuffy, prestigious venue? You're located in a very good location for speed to market. Formal dress. What is the equivalent for you? We really design things quickly and just in time for our clients. Is it very cerebral to work with you, or do you make it simple and easy? Are you looking for a mass audience or a niche? And then think about what Andrea did. It's premature for you to draw a to-be canvas, but give some thought to what he did and you can. And then we often ask people to go visually exploring. I'll tell you a little more about ways to do this, but we're innovation games facilitators and trainers, and we use a game called Reverse Everything. We use this because it's a very fast way for you to begin to create an idea bank of possibilities. So let's pretend this is a restaurant and you want to blue ocean it. Today you have menus, tomorrow you won't. Today you serve food, tomorrow you don't. Today you pay for food, don't pay for food tomorrow. Today you sit at tables and tomorrow you don't. What kind of restaurant is this? How can I really be in the restaurant business? Well, out of it comes all the new ideas. Think blue ocean. No menus, the owner comes out and tells us what he found in the market today and how would he like to prepare it for our meal, or how you'd like it prepared just for you. Instead of serving food, why don't you have a great hall with lots of wonderful amusements and games and let people bring their own food and entertain them picnic style? The next one, I've actually gone to a restaurant called Next. Next restaurant is in Chicago, where you don't pay for food, you rent the space for a period of time. You actually buy your meal ticket online for a lot of money, and we give you free food. They don't even tell you what the theme is for the night. And the next one is you don't sit at tables. A student of mine at Washington University said he was going to set up chairs like a stadium and watch oversized TVs with exclusive entertainment on it. There are no bad ideas. Something to consider when you're going through this. Don't judge them. Just think about, if I didn't, what could I do? Don't go backwards, go forward. Now, with this as a process, it's very visual. And you're beginning to build an idea bank of ways that you can, in fact, open up a new market space. So let me sort of go through the process in sort of sequence here so you can begin to hear how we'll go about it. You've done a strategic canvas and began to see yourself compared to others. You've done a reverse everything and begun to open up some great ideas, very different than what the market is. So the visual awakening comes first. See yourself more clearly by visualizing your business. Where are you focused and why? The canvas allows you to think about it. Do a couple of them. Do it with your staff. Even talk to your customers about it. Who are you looking for? Go look for non-users. Who's not using you? Why aren't they? Are they doing it themselves? Are they doing a different solution? Are they not just simply not using the whole category at all? The first one is minimally buy an industry's offering out of necessity. The second, refuse to use your industry's offerings at all. And the third, never thought of your market's options as an opportunity. I'll use the university as a case study because some people come, take some classes, and then drop out. Some don't think that it's appropriate for them to go to a residential college. And the third, never thought of you as an option for them. Like lots of municipalities and businesses who really need very good programs and program management, team building, and other kinds of services, or homeschooled kids who need a college that's suitable for them and teaches differently. Every one of these has possibilities for you. We tell people that the ideas aren't going to come from inside that trade show you go to. You got to go explore. You have to go across industry and strategic group, different ones that you normally do. Don't look at the same industry you're in. If you're in assisted living, go look at cruise ships and see why they're so much fun. Strategic groups, who do you go to that you could change and begin to think about differently? You've gone mass market, maybe there is a particular group. I was talking to a great attorney, and he realized that many of his clients were hospitals, and they were all consolidating. So he had to go find groups of doctors who weren't being bought, a different group. The buyer group, pharmaceutical, did it so well, they went directly to the end user and said, you need a purple pill. Tell your doctor. That's different than the doctor having to prescribe it. The scope of the product or the service offering. What Andrea did to classical music is transform it. He turned it into something that was a lot of fun. So he took something serious, something very functional, and made it an emotional orientation for a totally different industry. And time. Time is the trends that are coming that you can capitalize on. Take a look at all of those robots, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence. What's coming? Is Watson going to replace you as an accountant or even as a diagnostician, as a doctor? And then go visually explore. You want to know how to do that? Look at Undercover Boss on YouTube. It's a great advertisement for what anthropologists do. Go hang out and watch what's really going on. We love to spend a day in the life of a customer. Don't imagine them. Go find out what they actually do. Deep hanging out is a very important way of hanging out and seeing what's going on. People say, what does an anthropologist do? I say, hang out. You'll be amazed at the conversations. We work with a large healthcare system, and I spent lots of time in the cafeteria hanging out, listening to people talk about their challenges and problems. You'd be amazed what you can learn listening to stories. Have a lunch and listen. Take a great client out and tell him you're interested in knowing more about his business. Sell him nothing and let him talk or her talk. And take a camera. A picture is worth a million words. You have no idea how much more powerful it is to get pictures and then have people tell you what they mean. And then draw a 2B canvas. See where you can really have a new focus, differentiate yourself, and have a different offer. Try and make it easier for people, more productive for them. Fun and adventure is really cool. It sells. Simple does as well. Don't make it complicated. Don't let the engineers over-engineer it. If you want to create demand for a new solution, see how you can take the complexity out of what's already out there and make it simple. Think about what Uber did to find a taxi. Made it simple and easy so the platform connected you who needs a ride with them who has a car. It's simple. and solve a big problem in an innovative way. Don't simply incrementally improve what's already out there. Step back and think, what else can I do? Then have a whole strategy fair, compete, have a bunch of different members of your team present what they found, alternatives, debate them, and use the feedback to build the best to be future strategy. We worked with one client, and they all came back and realized their different divisions had found out similar things from each of their clients. The divisions were different, but the clients had similar problems, and that created a very big idea for them. And then communicate. Build a story to tell your team and to the outside world, and only focus on the things that allow you to close the gaps to fulfill that new strategy. There's a tremendous tendency to go backwards. Don't let the habits take over. Test and test and test some more. Blue ocean strategies push into new markets. They see things in ways not there before. They focus on unmet needs and non-users. And we create demand, we don't just fulfill it. You can do this. It is hard, but everything is hard. Staying in a red ocean is hard too. It's where you're comfortable. The habits take over. You know the herd. You're not really scared of waking up in the morning. But if you push into a blue ocean, you are going to find some very cool things. And should you? It can open up an entirely new set of possibilities that are awaiting you and your business. And the opportunities are big. You're going to find that you're going to love what's coming next. I love this quote by Churchill. A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. I can only tell you that you can stay where you are and milk it, cash cow it, make it and push it through. But the times are changing very fast. So don't sit still. Be optimistic about what you can do. And in fact, you can do it because it's being done all over, and our clients can tell you it is a very exciting time. So I want to thank you very much for joining us today. My book, On the Brink, A Fresh Lens to Take Your Business to New Heights, is available on Amazon, Hudson News, Barnes & Noble. It is in Audible as well as an ebook and a hardcover. It's about 7 case studies of our clients who were stalled on the brink and really had to discover how to change the way they were doing things in order to open up new market space. And they did. Hey, thanks for joining us today. Have a wonderful day. Bye now.